Katie Galton, the nutrition educator at the Interfaith Food Pantry. Welcome to the Healthy Choices Kitchen. Today I'm going to be making a recipe, delicious recipe filled with vegetables. It's called Summer Fiesta Veggie Tacos. And it sounds, with that word fiesta in the title, it is. It's like a party on your plate with lots of different colored vegetables. So I'm going to get started with it. I've already got some oil heating. Got that heated. And I'm going to be adding first some onion to it. Get that started. Oh. Doesn't sound like that was quite ready, so we're going to take a few minutes. It's going to take a few minutes to get those onions started. We just want them to get soft. I just want to point out some of the other ingredients that I'm going to be adding to this. Started with onions. Going to be adding some corn, some zucchini. Here's our whole zucchini. Some beautiful red tomatoes. We're still in tomato season a bit. And some garlic. I have some minced garlic here. So you might notice there's a wide variety of colors here. And we always want to try to eat as many colored vegetables as we can. So I hear that oil starting to sizzle a little bit, so we're just going to give that a little stir as that gets started cooking. Now, just want to show you a few tips, maybe you know, but maybe you don't, on how I chop some of these vegetables. So for my tomato, I took my whole tomato. I did take the core out with a little knife, and then chopped it in half. Chopped it in half the long way. And then I'm going to cut this into pieces just the way I often cut an onion into pieces. I'm going to go across this way with my knife. And then I'm going to go across this way with my knife. And then I'm going to turn it and go this way again with my knife. If you have a nice sharp knife, this works well. But also, if your knife isn't quite so sharp, a serrated knife really works well on getting tomatoes, chopping them. So there we have it pretty quickly. We have our tomato all chopped. I'm going to put it in with our other tomatoes. Let's see how this is coming along. I can hear this and see that it's cooking, not quite ready. We want to get it a little bit softer than that. So we'll give it a minute or two more. So while that's cooking, I'll show you how I did my zucchini. Very similar. Of course, I always wash my vegetables before I use them. I wash the tomato, run them under cool water, and then dry them with a paper towel. Did the same thing for the zucchini. With the zucchini, I actually even used a scrub brush on it, just to scrub it under the water gently, just to get any surface dirt off of those. So, I'm going to check back on this. I think the onions are getting soft, so I'm going to add my next ingredients to it. I'm going to add some corn to it. Just let me mention this corn. One of the great things about this recipe is you can use fresh vegetables or you can use canned or frozen vegetables. So I made this at home last night. I had an ear of corn, a stray ear of corn. So I took the kernels off of the corn and used the fresh corn. But I didn't have any left over to use today, so I just used some canned corn, drained it, and I'm going to add that to this. Could also use frozen corn if you'd like to. And then I'm going to add our zucchini to that as well. And I'm going to just give those a stir and let those all cook together for a few minutes. So now we have some white vegetables, we have some yellow vegetables, and we have some green vegetables in there. We're we're starting to see that fiesta of colors come together. Also going to turn this up just a tad. We're going to let those cook. Now, let me hop back to my zucchini here. When I was getting my zucchini ready, I cut off the ends like this. And then I cut it in half like this. That's how I ended up with this. And when you're cutting, you always want to have a flat surface to cut on. Makes it much safer, much more stable. So I'm going to just cut right down the middle of that zucchini. And because this is going to be in a taco, it's going to be something maybe you're picking up with your hands. I don't want my zucchini pieces to be big. I want them to be on the smaller size, about the same size as the tomato pieces. And so I'm actually going to do the same thing with this that I did with the tomato. I'm going to slice right across here. So that gives me 2 layers there. And then I'm going to slice this way and right along that way. Keep going. And then I'm going to turn it and again go right across. And then I have my nice little zucchini pieces. And I'll add them in here. That's a great technique for cutting carrots. It would be the same thing. Give this a stir. If you were cutting carrots, the same thing works. Take your carrot stick, cut it in half, sit it up, slice down. So you're always working with that flat surface. All right. Let's see how these are coming along. Okay, this looks just about like it's ready. I can see the zucchini's getting a little bit soft along with those onions. So we're going to add the rest of our ingredients. I'm going to add the tomatoes, beautiful red tomatoes. Even though we're into the fall right now, we're still getting some of those fresh summer tomatoes. So that's why this is a great recipe to make right now. Before too long, we're not going to be getting these beautiful red tomatoes, fresh tomatoes like this. Oh, that looks so good. But like I mentioned with the corn, this is a great recipe if you want to make this farther into the year and you don't have those red tomatoes, fresh tomatoes. Just use canned diced tomatoes. Drain them and put them in, and will be just as good in your taco. So we have our tomatoes. I'm going to add some seasoning now. I have a little bit of oregano. I have a little bit of cumin, teaspoon of cumin. I'm going to add some garlic. I used a fresh clove of garlic. The recipe says 1 to 2 cloves of garlic. It depends on size of the clove. It also depends on how much you like garlic. The clove I used was more this size, a little bit bigger, but if yours are small, use 2 or adjust it to your taste. So I've minced that garlic. Again, if you don't have the fresh garlic, you can simply use some garlic powder. You're going to get great garlic flavor from that. I've got those added. Going to give us some flavor. You could also add some chili powder to this. If you like a hot flavor, you could add some cayenne to it. And the last, I'm going to add a little bit, just a tiny bit of salt and pepper to it. And then I'm going to add some black beans. It's going to be our protein in this. There we have a beautiful plate. I did rinse and drain the black beans before I use them. I use my colander, drain them. And I always look when I'm using canned products if I can find them to use lower sodium. But by rinsing those black beans, you're also draining off about 40% of the sodium. Okay, so this really comes together very quickly. Just going to let that cook for a few minutes. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. While it's cooking, I'm going to heat up our taco shell. I'm going to put this into the microwave. Just going to wrap it in a paper towel. Heat it up in the microwave. As you notice, I'm using a whole wheat wrap for this. Always my choice. You're going to get more fiber and minerals too. So I'm going to stick this in the microwave for just 10 seconds. That's a quick, easy way to heat your taco shell, but there's certainly other ways. If you want to do it in a skillet, you can just heat that skillet up, put it in the skillet, and heat it for a few seconds, flip it over. Gets it a little bit crispier if you like it that way. But this is nice and warm for us to put our mixture in. And let's see, yeah, this really looks like it's done. So I'm making this into a taco, but if you don't have taco shells or you don't want to use it that way, you can eat it just like this. Tastes delicious. In fact, I brought leftovers from when I made it last night for my lunch today, and that'll be my lunch. You could serve it over rice, which would be a nice way to eat it as well. So I think it's all finished. And we do, don't we have literally a fiesta, that party of colors in there? We have the red, which is good for cancer prevention off the red vegetables, yellow, orange vegetables, good for your immune system, green vegetables, especially the green leafy ones for your bone health. And all of the vegetables, they have fiber, they have just so many different nutrients and phytochemicals in them that are good for you. It's hard to just even isolate one because there's just many, many, many. So I'm just going to put that in my shell, my wrap. I'm going to put some shredded cheese on it. I'm going to, if you have a lime at home, putting a squeeze of lime on it really perks up the flavor. It gives it a nice flavor too. So I'm just going to put a little bit of squeeze of lime on it. And then I'm going to put some Greek yogurt on it. I love to use Greek yogurt as a substitute for sour cream. So if you like that kind of a topping, this is a really nice substitute. You don't have the fat of sour cream, and you actually get a little bit of protein and calcium with it. So it's a nice, healthy option for you. And speaking of healthy, you have a delicious, healthy meal for yourself that really, as you could see, came together very quickly with both fresh ingredients or canned ingredients or a combination of both. So you can just roll that right up. And you're ready to go.